Good evening, everyone. We welcome you all at this webinar on company modules in MCA-V3, which is being organized by ICSI in coordination with Ministry of Corporate Affairs. You all are aware that Ministry of Corporate Affairs has released its first set of 9 company forms on V3 filing on 31st of August 2022. LLP forms were migrated in March 2022, and slowly all the forms would be migrated to the new version after conducting user acceptance testing of these web-based forms. So it is seen that efforts are being taken by ministry, professional institutes, and stakeholders for keeping the issues at minimal. Today, we will be taking up all the major common issues, and we will be listening from LTI team about their resolution. So before that, we welcome Shri Manoj Pandeji, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and request him to address the webinar.
Thanks, Deepa. And thank you, President ICSI, for organizing this webinar and giving us opportunity to interact with the company secretaries. Let me first assure all company secretaries who are attending this webinar that we in the ministry look into each and every complaint wherever it is raised, and we are trying to address each and every issue which is flagged. In journey of transformation, some minor glitches could be there, and everybody should appreciate and acknowledge that. At the same time, we also should be cognizant of the fact that the form filings are also happening and taking place. Because of the change in the entire system of registration and login, and because of the change in the way of filing from PDF now to completely web, there are some challenges, and those challenges are getting addressed as and when we receive the concerns from the stakeholders. See, when the system migrates, there could be some legacy data issues also. And because of that, at the time of real-time validations on internet, because these are web forms, some professionals might be facing issues. Similarly, because of legacy issues, because now since we have introduced one email ID, one user, one ID, one password, and one DSC, there could be multiple associations in V2 and V1. There, some of the stakeholders might be facing some challenges. We are all aware, and in the journey of this transformation, we have taken ICSI, ICAI, and Cost Accounts Institute on board. They are with us at the time of user acceptance test. We get a feedback every week from them, when apart from the daily feedback which we receive from both the institutes in terms of Google Sheets. ICAI is also organizing every day 3 different sessions, and ICSI is also similarly organizing webinars. So I had requested President ICSI to organize region-wise webinars starting from Western region, so that we can interact with company secretaries in each and every region and get the feedback. My request is, please cooperate, and your ask, genuine ask would be that your concern should be addressed. And for that, we are committed, and that is why I have requested the technical team to take questions and try to address those questions. So thanks once again for giving your precious time during what we consider is the peak filing month now. And this is happening during festival season. And peak filing would be in terms of section maybe Form 8 and also AOC 4. So these are the next maybe 12-13 days which we are also geared up to accept the filings. AOC 4 filing would continue to happen in V2. This is the old system. There should be no challenge as such, and we are looking at the numbers and the filings are happening every day. So please complete the filing so that gradually we migrate to version 3 for remaining forms. We have not migrated to version 3 for annual forms because of the due dates which were coming in the way. So it was to facilitate it everybody. The ministry is to facilitate all the stakeholders in whatever manner we can do. So with these words, thank you once again, President ICSI, for giving us opportunity. Joint Director NCS B. Shri Kumar would be with you. He is one of you, I think. And the technical team from LTI is also here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I will now invite Shri Devendra V. Deshpande, President ICSI, for his views.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Manoj sir, for that opening remarks for this webinar. This webinar has been organized as rightly mentioned by Manoj Pandeyji, Joint Secretary MCA, that the purpose of this webinar is to understand the multiple queries which we have been receiving and what kind of solutions has been already done or we are in process of finding out the best solution, so that the multiple queries, the multiple issues which are being faced by the users can be solved, and there will be a easy working for all the professionals. So main purpose of this webinar is to disseminate that information about the various challenges faced and various solutions which we can provide. So I can give you a few examples, like we have been discussing about different issues. So we are not talking about one issue since March 2022, as this is a big change of version and the mode of filing. There is a big change. We have been filing it through PDFs. Now it is through web form. So there is a complete change in the system through which you file, system through which the system actually accepts the form, and system through which the forms are processed at the BO office. So it's a complete change of ecosystem for filing of forms under LLP. And as you all must be aware, all LLP forms were launched in one go, and the ministry was kind enough to have this breakdown. Like, so there was 15 days break for the LLP, but for company law, they have accepted our suggestion of having different phases for launching of different set of forms, out of which the annual forms, which we all are more worried about, will be in the last phase, where maybe in month of December or maybe in month of January. So this will be in the last phase when these annual filings will come into picture. So you all can file the annual filing forms in version 2, and that is the target for all the professionals, that now we have to complete our filing in V2 itself, because we are well conversant with the V2 system, and then after the peak filing, after the entire filing, the data can be migrated to V3 in a smoother and easier manner. So this is one suggestion which was accepted by ministry. Then there were a lot of issues which we all were facing in respect of duplication of PAN. I'm really happy to note that in last week, LTI and MCA has given that acceptance of deactivating 12,000 users, so that those were transferred to registered users. So now those those multiple issues have also been sorted out by LTI and ministry. There were few issues in respect of old data getting into the version 3 login. And Sunday, I was troubling Rohit like anything. And since morning we were discussing. So Sunday afternoon, we found that, okay, everything is fine. And since Monday, I have not received any query in respect of old forms getting into the new system. So all historical forms of version 2, if you have migrated from version 2 to version 3, they are now visible in V3. So these are few things which we have done, as rightly pointed out by JS sir, that the important issue is data validation. In version 1, we have very limited and liberalized data validation, wherein you could fill up the form by using 0000 as the phone number, and many people have filed such forms. But now when you come to this version 3, as we are moving forward, I think this system will have a stricter data validation, and that is the reason why sometimes we are not able to file the forms. And that technically, whatever the issues are, I think Rohit would be in a position to explain you those things. Even the staff login was suggested by the institutes, and that was very well accepted by the ministry. I would also request all the members, because now the annual filing and other filing will also come in version 3. So you can have your 10 different sub logins. They are called as professional staff login. So you can do that, so that one login you can use it in your office, so that entire data is in one go. You could have seen that now, if whenever you go to version 3 and say download, you will see all the documents coming in one zip file, which actually is very useful for you as a user, so that the entire document, including the challan, certificate, everything comes in one zip file. So this is the vision or logic with which this version 3 has started. Use of artificial intelligence in this version 3 is the base, and soon we will feel that, okay, this version is much better than version 2. And I think most of the issues which are repetitive in nature, we will discuss it today, and we'll try to find out the solution. Let me assure you that L&T, may it be L&T or MCA or ICSI or ICAI or everyone working on this particular project, don't want to have a difficult system. We want a system which should be robust and which will help us in future. So now there are few issues of transformation, and I think with webinars like this, and with your questions coming up to institute, we are compiling it on daily basis and sending it to MCA and L&T. I think we will be able to solve majority of the issues, and we will have a smooth run for version 3, as well as in future we will have all the advantages of being into version 3, and that is the positive side of it. And let's put up our points. Let's raise all the issues which you are facing, so that it should be known, and then we will try to solve it together. So happy filing. I know there is a lot of peak filing season going on, and everybody would be busy, but this webinar definitely will help you to complete the LLP filings in time, and then go to the company law filing. So happy filing to each one of you, and I must thank L&T and MCA for being part of this, and so that our members get to know that what things we are doing and what problems are getting tackled and how the solutions are being given. So over to you, Deepa. I would be there for the webinar, so in case anything is required, I'll be just pitching in. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we have compiled all the issues form wise, and login related and miscellaneous issues. So we will be taking it in serial order, and participants are also requested to share their questions, whatever they are facing. We will be taking those also. So, I also welcome Mr. B. Shri Kumar, Joint Director, MCA, and Mr. Sanjay Jain, Director, MCA, who will be there for taking up the domain-related queries. So, I am now taking up with all the form-related issues. So, Mr. Rohit Bhatt from LTI will be taking these queries. So, firstly, I am taking the login-related issues. The first issue, which is very common, is that the user is having only one name in their PAN, but they have to mandatorily fill both the fields in the while registering to the business user. So there are certain issues which we have received of this sort. So how we will be addressing this question?
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you very much for the time. I think going by this questions, login registration issues are for sure the issues which are we see that the number of issues being raised by the users on the login registrations. The reason why these restrictions have been put is based on the data sanity perspective. And I just wanted to little bit focus on why it is being required, and that's what the requirement or the mandatory items that has been put by the ministry. And the reason why these kind of issues are coming are really technical in nature, and for sure users may be struggling in order to get them resolved. One of the issue that you mentioned, ma'am, is about the first and last name. The mandatory field has been put for the first and last name. However, in some of the users, we saw that the last name has been is not there, and that is creating a validation that we have. For these kind of users, what we have done is there's a space in the last name that needs to be put. So if you just in the last name, just type the space in your laptop, and it will take your last name. So that's the validation being done, and this is quite a long solution that we had provided, and this is very well being used. The only thing is, ma'am, the problem that we had is that in the income tax database, when the users are putting their names of recently, I'll just give you an example. There was one of the user who was struggling to do the validation on the PAN database. However, there was a first name, there was a last name, but in income tax database, what they had done is they had put the name, first name and last name, both these fields in the last name itself, in the last name field. So the user was trying to put the first name and last name in our database and trying to hit the income tax database, and where that was getting failed. So then we connected with NSDL, and then we clarified from them what is the how this is getting failed, because the validation happens online. It has nothing to do with the MCA database, because for any of the PAN validations that happens, it happens on the income tax database straight away, and it is online, it is live system. So it is not even that we are saving these names in our database. If you have a PAN ID, we will put it simple. The only problem we saw is that the first name, middle name, and last name, there was an issue in the income tax database where both these names were put in the last name itself. So then we clarified when we put it the last name for both the names. So for example, I am Rohit Bhatt. My first name is Rohit, my last name is Bhatt. Logically, when I fill the form for users, I have to put the sequence like this. But in the income tax database, what they had done is they had put Rohit Bhatt in the last name itself. Both the names were there saved. So that had created the problem for this user. And these are, ma'am, user related issues. I agree to that. For a user, these are issues, and these are paining issues. And for that, we have to go by ticket. So it is not that I can fix it for user, it will be for all. We have to get the tickets raised with them, but we'll make sure that this is being done. For the user where there is only one name or there's only first name mentioned, please make sure in the last name, just press space once they file it, or once they are entering the details, it will go through, ma'am.
So another issue you yourself has taken up, that the person has the last name in the income tax database. So in such cases, can he put both the names in the last, and in the first name he should put the space? So things like that can happen.
Yes, ma'am. Those combinations has to be done. See, if it is saved in income tax data, that's how the logical sequencing for these names have been done. But Deepa, ma'am, these are not. There are not much tickets for this, and we have seen that there are very less tickets, and these are basically little bit of user specific to be issues. And I would request that for users, we are making sure that we are also opening these war room sessions, in order to do those resolutions for tickets. If you see last week, we were able to finish most of the tickets from login registrations along with other forms as well, but login registration was the highest one. We had made sure that, as Mr. Pandey was also mentioning, and Mr. Deshpande, sorry, was also mentioning, that we had seen this duplicacy of PANs, emails, and duplicacy of memberships. So what we had done is we have also sent the emails to the users upfront a week before to make sure if there are issues. So what we have done is, so if I am Rohit Bhatt and I have a login ID in the MCA database, and there are multiple IDs against me with the same membership or same PAN or same email ID. So what we had done is we had nullified those values in all the IDs and deregister or degrade his role to a registered user. So once that I am a registered user, simply I have to upgrade yourself. You will just upgrade. Don't those errors of duplicacy will not come, and these validations will be there. We had made sure that all the users around 12,000 are this membership are 14,000 odd, and we are trying to see that wherever the duplicacy is there, we are making sure that we are taking it at one go. However, for the users where we have to go like this, which you are mentioning for in this case, where the first name and last name, or first name is not there, last name is there, for them we have to go one by one. There is no solution that I can do at a one go. And whatever changes we had done of recently were done, all were communicated. We made sure this is being thoroughly so that users are not impacted.
So, like you are saying that for them who are having only first name, in second place, they can put the space. So can this can be written in the instruction kit or in some pop-up or some bracket mein message aa jaye, so that user awareness is there. But if
No,
somewhere
ma'am.
it is written.
So you are right, ma'am. We'll prepare a video. We will upload it on website. We'll make sure that this kind of FAQ is taken, because we see such issues have been coming now. We'll make sure that a video has been put. But for the people where database within income tax, how they have saved their names is something that it is
Yes,
something
yes.
to be checked with them.
Yeah.
However, for these kind of issues where the first name is only there, we'll make sure we'll put a FAQ for this.
Yeah. And for another question, you have already answered that multiple IDs created with single PAN. It requires deactivation of login IDs, and you have already 12,000 login IDs you have deactivated. So you have done that suo moto, or those tickets you have received, or and what about the remaining ones? What can be done?
Ma'am, we have received a lot of tickets against this, and the decision was taken based on the tickets that we have received. And this decision was taken to make sure there is no duplicacy of data and there is no problem with this. I would request users, and it is something that I think you also from the ICS side, you are running this a help desk where you are also calling the users as well. I would request, let's say example, I have multiple IDs in V2. Still there is duplicacy. There's no duplicacy, but still I have 5 to 6 IDs in the system. So let's say example, Rohit Bhatt has Rohit Bhatt 1, 2, 3, 4 IDs in the system, and I have done the transaction within the systems. If it is possible, I will just show in Excel, and probably I can share my screen, and probably that will help. I just wanted to make sure that everybody is. Can I share my screen here? Yeah, I can. Let me know it is visible, ma'am.
Hanji, it is visible.
Yeah, it is visible, Rohit.
So, sir, but let's say example, this is V2 and this is V3. So Rohit Bhatt had, for example, Rohit had 5 IDs here. I'll just put 2, 3, 4. So I have done some 10 transaction here, 15 here, 100 here, 50 here, or 5 here. So now once you are moving to V3, because you have to make sure that all these transactions should be visible in V3. So if let's say example, I am just moving this Rohit Bhatt here because I have removed the duplicacy. I have moved this Rohit Bhatt here, and this only 10 transactions will be visible for me. These will not be visible for me at all. So in this case, I would request ICSI as well as the users who are raising the ticket. So let's say example, if you are taking a decision, okay, Rohit Bhatt 1 is the one ID which I will use. So please make sure first that you need to also make sure which ID you want to continue in V3. So what we will do is we will just put all of the rest of the transactions around 170 more in the same. So it will be 180 then in the same ID. So you also need to mention that which ID out of this 5 you want to continue in V3. So they will just deactivate these, and this transaction, whatever he has done or she has done it here, we'll make sure it is available in his one ID, and then he can file the form or he can log in into the system. So it's important the user should mention which ID they want to continue with this. And with that, we will also move all his transaction in the one ID and make sure he is able to file the forms and able to see the transactions of the forms that he has done in V2. I hope this is clear, ma'am, or you want to?
Yeah. This is perfect. So the remaining, those who have multiple IDs still, they can request and generate the ticket, and then that will be also done.
Yeah, so we have received this, ma'am, question. So for example, and there are a lot many tickets. So they have migrated this. They will be only able to see 10 transaction. Then users are complaining, what about my 170, which is other number that we have. So this will not come here because it is still in in that ID associated. So until unless we as from backend will not move this 170 in this 180, you won't be able to see 180 transactions into your system. So important one, the ID which is there to be continued, that should be mentioned into your tickets or through ICSI. And then we'll also make sure all your transactions are being migrated into one, and then you can do the smooth transaction.
So they have to give the complete data about their multiple email IDs so that those can be merged in single ID, and they have to share whatever ID they want to remain.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Even people, what they have done is, I just wanted to give a more focus because these are the tickets that we normally are receiving, ma'am. And I'm just taking 2 minutes more on this because this is a little bit critical and more tickets are coming on this after this removal of this. People now, what they have done is, this is the migration. This is something, the migration that has happened, right? When we are upgrading their users from this. Now there is also cases where they have created a, for example, these are the IDs in V3. What they have done is they have created a new ID here, although nothing new. So they have created one more ID here. In V3, what they have done is they have created with one more ID as Rohit 6. Right? And he has done some few transactions in this based on the V3 forms that are available and LLP forms that are available. So now 10 out of 10. Now they are looking for these transactions, whereas my ID is gone. So there are a number of tickets also being raised on this. So I just wanted to clear these users. Even if you have created, first, there is no need to create a fresh ID in V3 if you are already associated with us. Please don't do that. You have to just upgrade your current V2 systems into V3. Simple. Just log in through your V2 system. It will take you to the profile update page, update your details, and that is done. But if you have created now ID in V3 and now you're searching for a V2 ID to be upgraded and all those stuff, it will not happen if your details are common between these two IDs and the transaction is still. Even if you have done it, still you need to also mention us all the IDs in V2. We'll make sure in this V3 ID, we will also upgrade all the transactions there. But for that, again, you need to give us complete details to make this happen. And see, it is very critical. These are very minute things, but these are very critical for the users as well as for us. We don't want Rohit, maybe Deepa ma'am's ID, all the transaction getting migrated to Rohit Bhatt's ID. So let us make the cognizant of fact all the security related concerns are there. Please make sure you are giving complete details, and that is the reason we are struggling sometimes to resolve the issues because we don't have complete details in the ticket itself.
Okay. Now moving on to the next question. Facing issues from registered issuer to user to business user, error shows user ID and password do not match.
Yes, ma'am. So password should be matching. Make sure that this is just a basic clear check of IT system. So password should match. There is no problem in the password.
Forgets, is there any
yes, ma'am. So if forgot, there is a forgot password in the system itself. And let's say example, you have forgot your password, you have forgot your hint question and answer. We are daily sending a by default password to the users. If your user ID ticket has been raised with us, we are making sure that the default username along with password is being sent to the users.
Okay, based on the ticket, You are
Yes, ma'am.
resolving the individual queries and sending the passwords, new passwords to them.
Yes.
So they cannot generate the password on their own by putting the
Ma'am, generation of
password.
password is not possible. Forgot password or change password is possible. Not generation of password. It is
So
done by us only.
if they click on the forgot password, it will not automatically come to their email ID.
Yes, yes. So if it is a forgot password, they will be able to do that. There's no issue. If they forgot their password, just forgot your password, click on that, change your password. That is possible. But now if I itself don't remember my password, or I want to have a by default password, some hint, because there are some questions being asked. Hint question is something being asked while doing the forgot password. If they don't remember the hint question and answer itself, they won't be able to reset or change the password. So it's important. If those are the cases, please raise a ticket with us. We'll send a default password here, then you can change your password later on, or we'll change the hint questions and answers to you and make sure that you are able to forget the change the password through forgot password on the MCA systems.
Okay. Another one relates to hint answer, which you already had answered. User is unable to upgrade to business user because error shows user account already exists with the membership number.
Ma'am, these questions should not be there at all, because we have done it null last week itself. If there are some more to it, because I don't see any of the duplicacy has been removed. If there is a membership duplicacy, please make sure a ticket quickly is raised to us, so this will be done. So these are system checks, ma'am, just to make sure data sanity is being done. As we mentioned, 14,000 odd, we have already done a null check. So if there are more, I don't see anything in the systems we have. If there are more, please raise a ticket, we'll get it done.
Similar question, membership number of professionals do not get validated on upgrading business user.
Ma'am, validation is there very well. Without the membership ID, they will not be allowed to do, they will not be allowed to upgrade there, because that's a mandatory feat.
Okay. Is there any particular way of putting in the membership number? Like
No,
one has to put A or numbers, or F or number, or only the number?
It's
Maybe
normal, ma'am. It's normal number to be put, ma'am. There's no sequence to it, ma'am.
Okay. So login related, that's all about the login related issues. Now we are moving on to the issues on DPT3. Okay. First one is for the column repaid during the year. The form is not deducting the repayment amount. In the form, repaid amount is also getting added in the closing balance, and due to which it is not possible to match the closing balance at the end of the year. Even after putting negative sign, as suggested earlier, the users are still facing the issue.
Ma'am, this issue, to be frank, has been fixed now. We have to deploy this. This issue, first, the negative was the option that we had given. And that was working perfectly fine. But there have been some users complaining even that was not working. We are working towards it, and it will be fixed in next couple of days. Just give us couple of days, and we will make sure that we'll communicate on this. This is an issue. And we'll make sure that this is getting resolved on the negative. So we tried negative, but we received a comment that this should not be done, and this is not the way to be done, and that's what we have got the feedback. We are changing a logic towards it, and just give us 1 or 2 days. We'll make sure that this is getting resolved and the communication is sent across on this.
Okay, another one relates to if the person is having the company profile. In such cases, he is not able to mention the SIN of the company after selecting the form DPT3.
Yes, ma'am.
And
So
if the person is giving it to the professional and they from their login putting it, that is they can do that.
Yes, ma'am. So we have seen this association had an issue in the data itself. There has been association, and we have been discussing during our meeting last time as well. For this company and LLP users, we see some association has been a problem within the data, and I see. Okay, so not mentioning, I agree to the issue. So I was mentioning last time as well. Please make sure the filing is done by the authorized representative or the company user who is associated with this, because within our systems we need to make sure these users are associated. Then only you will get the pre-fills against these LLPIN and a company users. If not, professional is the other way to do it. And we have to make sure within our database, these users who have been associated are actually doing the right file. So I saw recently user had created a fresh filing against the LLP and company name in the MCA-V3 database, and he was trying to file the form, whereas he has to simply upgrade his data from V2 to V3 and do the filing. So also we saw that some of the LLP and company user, what they have done is their associates within the organization are doing the filing against them, and they had done the filing with they registered themselves as the company LLP with just a PAN number being associated and trying to file the form. I would request that all the authorized as well as company and LLP users who are actually the users of the for that particular LLP do the filing. And there is an issue which we have seen on this. Number of issues and tickets has been raised on this. And since these are one-to-one basis, we are actually connecting with users through ICSI help desk as well as from our help desk to make sure that these are associated with the correct LLPs and companies so that they can do the filing.
Just to add whatever Rohit said, ma'am, this is Vijaya. So whenever your business user category is LLP user or company user, so you can file the form only for that particular SIN or LLP. You will not be able to file for some other SIN like the way professionals are doing.
Yeah, that is correct. But I hope we have received certain issues from company users. They are filing their own DPT3. So professionals are able to fill their form, but by using the company user, they are not able to fill the SIN. So they might be filing their own DPT3 only.
So in case of company user or LLP user, ma'am, so that would get pre-filled automatically. So your SIN and LLP would get pre-filled automatically. There is no option given to select a company from a drop down, or it will not.
No, they are not able to fill even SIN.
Acha.
Yeah.
Ma'am, as I mentioned, there can be for some of the users a data related issues in the background. So I would assure that the tickets which have been raised with us, we will make sure those are getting resolved. Rest assured, we will make sure each of the tickets that have been raised with us, we are getting it resolved one by one. The only reason is that, ma'am, these are all data related issues. These are not functional issues. It is taking time because we have to validate the users one-to-one data in the database and get it one-to-one mapping being done. So as I was mentioned, I cannot show your data into mine and mine to yours. So that is there. The cautious steps has been taken, and we are making sure that each of the data that is there in the systems, we are doing a correct mapping of the data. That is the reason we are taking a little bit of time on this. Rest assured, we'll make sure that these issues are getting resolved.
Another one is maybe minor one, but it should be brought to your notice. In DPT3, they are unable to select the radio button displaying whether company is public or private. They are able to fill the form, but they are not able to select the radio button displaying whether the company is public or private. I think that is not mandatory, but they are able to fill the form.
Yeah. So again, for these, is it for ma'am these LLP company users, or it is for professionals as well?
That is not mentioned here, but while filing DPT3 form, this is the issue they are getting.
Most of the issues that we see from DPT3 are related to only the Form 8 and DPT3, to be frank and be transparent with you. These login registration issues where this LLP and company users are trying to file this form is facing the issues like these because either there are multiple scenarios. I can't, we just discussed, right? One is that if they are not associated with that LLP and company. Second is there can be a data issue against it. Third is that they have registered with us through business users through new registrations and trying to file the forms, or they are trying to file the form for some other LLPIN. So all of this is contributing to these issues. We are making sure that that is behind. That's how the systems have been built to make sure that for particular LLPIN, only those LLPINs are visible in the pre-fill section of the form, and these sections are visible to them. So we are doing that, ma'am. Feedback taken. We'll make sure that if there are some tickets related to this, and if you have some live scenarios against this, please make sure to send it across us, and we'll make sure this is getting resolved as well.
Another one, I think it is domain related. So Shrikmar sir, like for DPT3, the last date of filing is June 30th, and auditor signatures are necessary now. and the auditor is not ready to sign because the audited financial statements are available in September only. So maybe this is a regular issue the companies are facing. So maybe some dates are required to be changed, or because auditors are hesitant to sign the form before they get the audited statement. And this is to be filed before June 30th, DPT3.
Yeah, madam. As of now, there is no such proposal for any extension.
Yeah. Okay, so we can also exchange the issue again with you, and then we can discuss about this.
Yeah.
Next one now on DPT3, we have these much of questions, and the specific ones we will take after these form related issues which we have compiled. So on now we are taking the issues on CHG1. Digital signature validation failed. DSC can't be affixed. It states that the error, the please affix a valid DSC.
Yes, ma'am, that's a valid validation being put in. For these users, can I share my screen again? Sorry, because this is something to be given awareness to the users is important.
Yes, yes.
Just give me a second, ma'am. I'll just share my. Let me know once you're able to see my screen, ma'am. Are you able to see, ma'am?
Hanji, visible, it is visible.
So, ma'am, what had happened last time, if you go to MCA services, there are two places where the DSC registration has to be done or association has to be done. Earlier, this DSC services was just a DSC service there, right? Last week, once the tickets were raised, DSC was getting failed. We have put here an message mentioning related to V2 DSC associations only. When I say V2, all the 9 forms which we have recently launched, plus the LLP forms related DSCs, except these 29 forms, rest of the forms, if they have to do the company filing forms, they have to associate their DSCs in this section. In FO services, in the LLP FO services, there's a FO service here new. Under that, there's a DSC association again here, associate DSC, this one. This is for V3. So now why I'm mentioning this, ma'am, people or user have associated DSC in this and they are trying to file the form in V3 will not work because both the systems are syncing. There's a syncing time that happens between the two. There's no syncing between V2 to V3 as such, because as MC has come up with this idea that, not idea, mantra, that there'll be only one login, one DSC. So for all the users who have to do their filing in V3, have to make sure they are associating their DSC at this section here. Associate DSC. This is the place that they need to associate their DSC. Now, if you are associating DSC
we
here,
can write here, like you have written at the up V2 DSC association, we can write here V3 association, DSC
yes, ma'am,
association.
we can do that. We can do that. We have done it last week. So we had received lot many complaints that my DSC is failing because they are trying to associate their DSC here and trying to file the form in V3 is something that was a problem. We had made sure a message is put in here. We'll also make sure a message is put in here. But we have also made sure in the login system, in the login page of MCA, we had given a section there where a message comes. Here, there's a message here comes, signatory and practicing role here. It is written here, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
So that was one. Second was they also need to check that in the MCA database in the weekly that dump comes from ICSI, and we have to make sure your membership number or number have been mentioned there. They are registered with us. We are making sure that a sync happens every week. So make sure that you also do a check there as well to see that it is there in the systems and databases with us.
Okay. So users have to take care that if they are filing V2 forms, they have to associate their DSC with the V2
Yeah.
V2 and for V3 there should be a separate DSC association. Okay. So
Because, okay, worth mentioning, once all the forms will be migrated to V3, this DSC message or DSC option will be taken off. All the DSCs will be only associated at one place. And because of this transition that we are moving, that is the two options being given. But after moving completely into one form, into V3, make sure you are associating your DSCs at both the places, or the V3 systems what we are mentioned, which I showed now.
okay. So next question is that in CHG1, some users are not able to find the enable DSC box.
Yes, ma'am. So there was an issue last week, and this has been fixed now. I would request users to go to the application history, edit the form. It is because your form will be anyways filled. There's no need, and the same SRN will be taken. Just edit the form, and they can download the form again, and then it will be visible for them. The DSC box will be visible for them.
Okay. Another one is attachment is getting downloaded instead of the form when they are downloading form for affixing the DSC after submission.
Yes, so during this time from last 1 week, we have also seen this one of the issue being raised. So we have given the solution in the ticket as well as on the service desk as well. They can there are two ways to do it. One is they can go and edit the form and they can download it. It will come up. There's no issue in that. They can simply just for these questions, ma'am, they can just go. If the PDF is not getting downloaded, DSC box is not there, or their download is not happening properly, or the downloaded form is not downloaded, you can just save your form, go to application history, edit the form, download it again, it will come, ma'am.
Okay. But it can straight away should come now. That
Yeah,
I
it
think
should.
we must be working on it.
No, ma'am, so that was fixed last week itself. That's what I mentioned. There was an issue which we have fixed last week. For the ones which were already created, are there in application history. They just go there, edit it, download it again. It's for those users only. For the fresh, we don't see these issues coming in, ma'am.
Okay. Another one is charge certificate is not available.
Yes, ma'am. So charge certificate had an issue. We had around 400 odd tickets now, which are left now with us, where the charge certificate was not done. We are sending charge certificates one by one through our help desk as well as through ICSI as well. We are giving them the charge certificate so that they can share it to users. For the fresh, there is no issue. For the ones which had an issue earlier, we are sending them one by one, ma'am. So there is no issue as of now. You will receive the charge certificates into your emails, rest assured, in next couple of days, one by one. And these charge certificates will be shared to individual users, ma'am.
For fresh filings, they will be getting the certificates.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
In this CHG1 and in Philip forms, some users have faced that the DSC box appears anywhere in the form, not wherever it is required. It appears somewhere in front of the name in the first page or somewhere else, and one puts the DSC and then it gets submitted. But the place where it appears is different from where it should have been.
Yes, ma'am. So there are not much complaints against it. And as I was mentioning, DSC related issues we had last week, we had fixed the issue last week, ma'am. I don't see this now coming at all in any of the forms. And
it is minor, but it should be in, we should brought it to your notice.
Yes, ma'am. So last week we fixed all the DSC related issues. Somewhere the boxes were not coming, as I was mentioning earlier as well. So those have been fixed and DSCs are available at the respective places, ma'am.
Rohit, just one point in this. Sometimes what is happening in respect of DR3 KYC or certain forms, we are downloading the forms, but the attachments are getting downloaded. And actually understand that this DR3 KYC requires OTP. So again, it has to go through the entire process. So I think this one issue, I don't know why it is coming, but you can address that also.
No, sir. So let's say example in DR3 KYC, in this case, let's say example. So in this case, OTP will get only once if it is saved in your application history, sir. So if you edit from there, there's no need to go for an OTP again. For a fresh, let's say example, because the error in the system that was coming that at the end, it was for the user, it was coming to know that, okay, my DR for this particular year has been filed. So for those users, it will go again OTP because it's as of now, the validation is at the end. We are also working that the validation comes right from the beginning. Once you put the DIN number on the first page itself, we did not do that deliberately this time because filings and the last dates were happening. We are working towards that in order to make sure the error comes up front to the users rather than coming at the end. But for the ones where DSC box is not coming or anything like that, they just have to put the OTP once and then they have to edit the form from the application history. There's no need of OTP in that case, sir.
No, what is happening after filling up of the form, instead of form getting downloaded, the attachment is getting downloaded.
Yes, sir. I answered this question on the top. So what they need to do is they just need to go again to application history, edit the form again and download it, sir. There was an issue on this, which we have fixed it as we mentioned and had a meeting last week. So this has been fixed, sir, from the DSC related issues or the attachment related issues. We have fixed it completely. I don't see now this is an issue coming across on help desk, sir.
So next one for CHG1 is error is showing that charge ID is not associated with the SIN of the company. It could be identified that this is occurring due to some charge ID being allocated to two different companies in V2 portal.
Yes, ma'am. So this is a data issue, and this is where we are struggling and having a detailed discussions with internally with MCA as well. What should we do on this? Because these are one-to-one basis that we need to see, ma'am. And for these data related issues, we have been working thoroughly and making sure that we are able to resolve it one by one basis only. Because for me, I can't run a job that, okay, this is duplicate and then against what it should be. So it's the easiest way to do it. We have to go one by one and then try to see where I have to associate it based on the form that the user has filed, and then try to correct it into the database so that users can see it.
Okay, so that is all for CHG1 issues. Now moving on to CHG4. Same charge certificate is not available. Email is received. I hope this is addressed. You are saying that now onward certificate will be received.
Yes, ma'am. And then for the users, as I mentioned again, we had 700 odd issues, ma'am, on this. We have already sent 1-to-1, 300 odd certificates have been released from us 1-to-1 to users. There are still 400 odd left, which we are sending one by one, ma'am.
Okay. Another one is that once the charge is satisfied, it creates a new entry in the index. I think this is a conscious decision that every action has to have a different entry in the index.
Yes.
But
yes.
the issue is that while the same ID is showing that this is open, and another ID, the same ID, it is showing closed. So one is it is difficult to convince the bankers that it is still closed or open, because if it is closed, then it should be there shown as closed in the first entry also. So
yes, ma'am. So there are very few issues being raised, because what happens is ultimately once you file it, the master data of the system should be updated, and that's why the users are getting this this problem with. We have seen of recently in the master data, as you were mentioning correctly, ma'am, and that's what the new system is. Let's say example, in the new system, if any of the information is missing in that form, or if any of the information which is not complete from the users, the master data for those users will not be updated. So that is what the issues we are as of now in hand. And let's say example, in other places as well, we saw that the multiplication of data, duplication of data that has happened, and that is failing us to update the master data. So what we are doing it again, we are fixing these errors one by one with the number of errors that we are getting while updating. So there are very minimal number of these issues that we are receiving, but these are getting fixed one by one, and we are making sure that the master is getting viewed and updated based on this data only, ma'am.
okay. Next one is the user is unable to access the form. It is directly taking to application history on editing the form.
Ma'am, just check if you are a registered user, because we have downgraded the last week number of users. There are some forms only which can be viewed through registered users. The rest of the forms will take you either to the login page or the application history all the time, ma'am. Make sure that in the profile page in the login, wherever there's a name written on the right hand side top corner, there's a name where the login name is given. Under that, you can just click on it, not click, hover around it as well, and just see that there's a profile update page. Click on it and see what kind of user you are. If it is a registered user and trying to file forms like 8 or other forms which are not accessible to the registered user, it will always take you to the application history, ma'am.
So users are advised to do that.
Yes, ma'am. Just to see that if they are not degraded because of this duplication of data that we have done last week, ma'am.
Okay. After generation of SRN, unable to download form for DSC attachment.
Okay,
Same
so
process edit.
as we have been mentioned, and the FAQs are also being generated, 2 places you need to make sure your browser pop-up is enabled. One, once you do the payment and then you are coming back, the download pop-up should be enabled. Same case, when you submit and the SRN is generated, make sure their pop-up of your browser should be enabled so that the download can happen. So simply, if the download has not happened and you forgot to enable your pop-up, you can very well still go to the settings of the browser, just enable your pop-up and refresh the page, that form will get downloaded, ma'am.
Okay. So CHG4 related queries are common queries are over. Now moving on to DIR3 KYC and DIR3 KYC web. So one director's KYC was done, and then last year web KYC was done. Now it is again asking for the DIR3 KYC, the complete entire form.
Yes, ma'am. So these issues had come because of the data problems that we have. So in the systems, the differentiation is between E and W. E is for E form and W is for web form. That was the differentiation that was done. And the validation is actually based on that only. And in the system, the check is there that if you have filed any of the forms, web-based or E-based, so it will just validate it and give you an error. In these users, what we have seen is in the system, they have not checked or validated that any one of forms, I think it is web form or E form, which has to be mandatory been filed. Sakshi or Vijaya? E form, right?
Yes, e-form has to be
Yes.
filed.
E-form data, when we migrate the E-form field, wherever it was mentioned that E field was not there in the systems in our databases, that is where these errors have come. That was one. Second, in our databases, we also see that the phone numbers or email IDs in the systems were not updated in the background. And that is where these 2 types of errors have come. And that is where we have checked through our verifications. So what we have done is for these users, we are also changing now the validations. We are trying to do it a little bit differently. If the DIN is active and he has filed the form last year and it is active, we are trying to change with the help of MCA as well as with the help of domain team, we are trying to see that validations can be changed to make sure if these errors are coming, we need to make sure we can also pick this validation as well or add this validation as well so that users are not getting these errors.
Okay. Next one is that in certain cases, signatures were not getting affixed. So what some professionals have done is that they have put in the scanned signatures and the form was able to file.
Yes, we have heard about it, ma'am. And if the DAC is correct, the systems will pick up.
Yeah, so it should not be there. So moving on to, so we are taking DIR3 KYC, OTPs. For
Yes, ma'am.
Indian
So,
as well as international directors.
yes, ma'am. So we have seen that, and to be transparent here in this webinar, that we have seen that I also getting into the calls with number of users. We see that OTPs are coming perfectly fine for international users. We saw that the service provider at these international users were sending these OTPs little bit delayed because our OTPs are only for 30 minutes. The OTPs were coming more than 30 minutes. It took an hour, it took maybe somewhere 4 hours, wherein these OTPs are being received, and with the reason that OTPs are getting failed. The earlier option that we had is that where from the systems we were able to give the OTPs to the users, because in the system we used to pick up and send it across. With the new system, these OTPs have been encrypted. What does that encryption means? that I will not be able, as a system a provider, I will not be able to see these OTPs which are getting sent from our servers. These are encrypted, and I will get only cross or some other special character I will guess against these 4-digit OTPs. So I, as a service provider, cannot give now OTPs on the system. So we are technically dependent on these service providers only to send these OTPs. So we are trying to see that because it's not within our control, where we can also talk to these service provider to send these OTPs on time. So what we are trying to do is we are also trying to discuss with our service provider, which is doing it from our side, just to see that if we can improve these performances, if they can help us around on this.
Yeah, because it is difficult to sometimes connect again and again with international directors. Sometimes they get annoyed and things like that.
Ma'am,
Professionals
for
are
us
facing-
also it is little bit difficult because service provider there, the
Yeah.
telecom provider also is sending little bit delayed these OTPs, and it becomes very late for us to see the systems once the OTP is received. Or else we can just extend this, but system will not allow you, more than 30
It would
minutes.
be
Even if I
risky.
extend, it will be risky a little bit. So it's important that we are also trying to connect with our service provider to see that if this can be improved, but we are completely dependent on this telecom service provider to get this moving.
Next one is challan is not generated or getting generated in another one's name. That is also you are aware of.
Ma'am, I am aware completely, and this has been fixed almost 15 days back, to be frank. I think this was raised by Mr. Deshpande himself. We had made sure this is not being done. This has been stopped long back, and you won't see that happening now.
Okay. So forms were filed, but challans are not generated. This kind of issue is also being received.
Yes, ma'am, because as I mentioned, pop-up should be enabled. I would request again and again, the pop-up should be enabled to download the challan. If in case the challan is, you are not able to do that, in the application history, there is a zip folder that comes after 4 hours. A zip folder comes, you can just download the zip folder and the challan will be available for users.
Forms were filed, but not showing in my applications.
I think Mr. Deshpande also received or shared this on Sunday once we start this. He was mentioning that forms are not available in the application history. We verified with 5 users on weekend on Sunday. Because he had 316 odd applications in his application history, and we just went to one by one, and we saw that was coming into his 22nd page, to be frank, and that is where there was an issue. It was there in his application history, but it was coming a little bit down. So please make sure you are going through all the numbers, and you will be able to see it. The other way around is that in a single time you can only see 5 SRNs in that particular page. Just go on the top and right hand side, the maximum is 15. Try to click on that 15, just like this 15, you will be able to see more and more SRNs on the same page. We are trying to do more and more enhancement to this in the way that the updated SRNs or the recent SRNs should come on the top. That has been enabled on Saturday itself, and although it was there, we have again checked it, verified it, and all the SRNs which we have recently filed, they will be coming on the top. You will be able to see your SRNs of recently on the top itself.
Okay. Attachment is getting downloaded instead of form. This you have already addressed. One has to go to edit the form, and then that will be, I think, available. Correct?
Yes, ma'am. Even the next one, I think it is similar.
Unable to track the challan on V3.
Ma'am, I mentioned it is available in the application history. There is a right hand side download button.
Like in
Click on.
yeah, matlab the issue is that in V2 they were able to track the challans through SRN, search SRN करके. Now it is possible, not possible, I think.
No, ma'am, it is much more easier now. What we have done is we have given a zip folder on the application history. So all the document related challans, certificates, all those things are available in the zip folder itself, ma'am.
So
It is much more easier.
actually for some time, the challans are not appearing there. No? So they are trying to search from the search SRN, that is not available. So if it is available, that is the best way, easier way. Okay.
It is available, ma'am. It is very much available, and it is something we have got also good feedback that is now completely being available in a single folder, and they are able to pull it now.
Okay. Okay. So DSC, DR3, KYC, and web are the questions are over. Now moving on to CHG9. Unable to save and submit the form.
Ma'am, this is bit user specific because forms are getting filed. If you could have put little bit of information why they are doing it, so probably it would have been much easier for us. But as of now, we see that there are not much issues related to this on save and submit. Forms are getting perfectly filed. If you have little bit of information that what is something that is causing their issue is something we need to look into details of it.
Okay. Next one is form has been sent for resubmission, and while doing the resubmission, it shows that the form has been cancelled. More details are required.
Ma'am, for cancellation, the process is if you are not updating or if you are not doing any activity on that SRN for 15 days, it will get cancelled. We had also tried to do this awareness through our lot of webinars and all that. At least go and update it if you are still have resubmit. You are waiting for DSC or you are waiting for more information from your directors or other associated stakeholders. Please at least go to that and just try to check or do some addition into or do some changes to the source so it will not get cancelled. So that some activity is happening on that particular form. But if you are not doing anything on this and you are still waiting for the details, it will get automatically cancelled within 15 days. That is the process in the new system, ma'am.
Okay. Now all the compiled questions are over. Now I'm taking the participant questions, which are not, I'm sure, duplicate. If there is a duplicacy, I will not take that.
Do you want to take LLP as well first, then to this, or you want to continue with this?
These are company forms related issues. So because I have already taken the company form, so I will be continuing with company forms or whatever you say.
Ma'am, let us finish the LLP ones, the common issues, so that probably most of the issues which you are mentioning can be resolved through that.
Okay. Okay. So form 8. Not able to file form successfully on V3, error comes that there is a validation error in this field.
Ma'am, little bit of information is more required because validation error is a right validation error being put because in the form it looks like to be that validation some of the fields that the user has put are not correct, and that is the reason the validation error the system was. I have seen yesterday, ma'am, some of the issues with the special characters in the address that have come. I will try to mention this and if you can give me a second when I'll try to show one example where user was struggling to do and there was a data issue with that wherein there was a special character in his address which had a problem with, and for that we have to make sure that data is getting changed straight away. Inverted commas and all those stuff that we had on the addresses is creating a special character issue. Either see in the systems we have tried to put these validations to make sure data sanity is being done, and for these things to be updated or changed in the production, we also have to go through a proper process within our systems as well. For some of the users, I see address in the special character has been mentioned wherein their error like this is coming, ma'am. I will try to figure it out. One of the error which I had discussion with the user yesterday itself, and I wanted to show that error to the users here so that they can also get a sense that what kind of issues or what kind of special characters I am mentioning, ma'am.
So there should not be any comma in the address box.
Yes, but that's a pre-filled field. And for users also, it's a problem with them because they can't change it. They have to raise a ticket with us. Then only I can change the address with the help of MCA, because changing somebody's address or changing anything has to go through a proper process only. So for
So
those
if
users,
user cannot file that, then there should not be a problem about putting in the special character if that is already pre-filled.
yes, but system does not allow, because in the V2 it was allowed. It was allowed to have pre-filled system with a special character. In V3 it is not completely allowed. In web forms it is not allowed, and that is where the problem is being based by the users.
So what is the solution for this? If it is already pre-filled and it is already having the special characters, one cannot do, one is helpless.
I have discussed this earlier as well. Either we have to allow it or we have to completely stop this. We are still in discussion. I need to discuss this with internally as well to make sure that we allow these things, to make sure that there is no validations being done. So allow me some time, ma'am. I need to discuss with MCA and get the resolution on this.
So for company forms also, we are not allowing the special characters in the address.
Special character is not allowed, ma'am. In V3, at least the new systems are not allowed with special characters. We can allow it to an extent, but not all, which will create a problem in future for all the users.
But there also it should have been the pre-filled thing, na, address.
Yes, ma'am. We have changed or updated all those special characters for few of the users. For the users who are recently, filing the forms or have recently joined us, for them we are still doing it one by one basis, ma'am, only.
There are lots of LLPs. One by one, doing one by one.
That is the problem we have, ma'am. So I don't know if I have put inverted commas or commas into my address while putting it V2 systems. So we have to do it one by one, or either I have to allow everything.
Or
so if
LLP,
I allow everything,
or the LLPs can change the address by filing particular form for change of address. Change of address of the organization.
ma'am, let me discuss this internally and try to see that how we can just allow them rather than changing it, because it will have their own penalties and
So
all
I
those
think
stuff.
because of this issue only, there must be lots of LLPs which are not able to file the forms.
Yes, form 8
Must
we
be
had these
impacting-
issues. Yeah. So let's
Yes.
not put one more form or give this solution. Let's not do that. I would request not to give that solution. I think we should do or extend the correct extend or allow the current address to the users to make sure they are filed the form.
What was the position in V2, Rohit?
In V2, sir, special character were allowed, sir. They were allowing, they were able to
Then
do
same
that.
way we should continue. Let me discuss and we will continue the V2 system.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Then they LLP Form 8, they are unable to download the form.
Ma'am, same issue as I gave earlier solution. You can just edit it and download it. It is only the pop-up should have been enabled. If users are forgetting to do that, just enable, make sure that your pop-up is enabled. You will be able to, if you are not, just enable your pop-up through a browser and just refresh your page. You will be able to download it. If not, just edit the form, because your form is filled. Just submit it. It will again get downloaded, ma'am.
Users are not able to write LLPIN in order to proceed further and save the form.
Yes, they are not able to use that because they are logging through LLPin and company user, and they are not associated to that. That's the reason we are saying, please, professionals, please do make sure that if you have a problem, please file the form through a professional ID. And if you are associated in that LLPin and company, it will go through. The drop down will come in.
Okay. The downloaded form show the following errors. Wrong certification column is being shown. It is not showing the exact figures which were filled. Sometimes the figures get changed.
I think I have received this from Mr. Devinder as well. One of the screenshot. I'm examining that. Give me some time, ma'am. Another 1 or 2 days to fix this issue as well.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, one character comes in, like
Yeah.
E. So I don't know what is the error. So that I had already discussed.
Then similar issue, data disappears and forms get blank on editing the form. that
Ma'am,
entire data.
normally when you come up, you just need to wait for the data to get pre-filled when you edit it. Because it's all pre-filled form. Just wait for a few seconds at least to see your form that all the data will be pre-filled there. So I would request that when you edit through application history, just wait for a few seconds to make sure that all your data comes. It's perfectly fine that you just make sure that the pre-fill sometimes, because the request goes to database and it pulls all the data from database because you have filled and it pulled all the information from database. Make sure you just wait for a few seconds to make sure that your pre-filled data comes to the form, and then you can continue with your file.
DSC box disappears upon download of the form. The error message digital signature verification failed. Please affix a valid DSC.
I think we
Wrong affixation of DSC.
wrong affixation.
D2
I think
and
I
D3.
answer this.
You're responding to that, or should I ask another one?
No, ma'am, can you repeat it? I mean, sorry, I just missed it.
So I asked that DSC box disappears upon downloading the form.
No, I mentioned, right, this issue was there for some of the forms last week. We have fixed it. You can just edit and download it. It will come there, ma'am.
Okay. There are 3 designated partners and 3 partners in LLP, whereas only 3 designated partners and 2 partners are reflecting.
In the master
The
data.
number of, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. In the master data, as we were mentioning earlier as well, so there, due to this duplicacy of PANs and DINs that were there allowed in V2 systems, this is creating a conflict within our systems, because in the new system, what has happened that PAN and DIN have been put into the same table. Earlier, PAN and DIN were placed into separate tables, and the validation or the picking of the data on the master data used to happen that way. So what we have done now in the system, because of the validation, PAN and DIN has been put into the same table. So let's say, example, I'm searching for PAN, it will just pick that, and then the status of that particular partner will go null. Because the system is failing in the sense, it is not able to identify if there is a duplicacy in that particular entering of partners in details into that particular LLPIN. So what we are trying to do, because we have to change this system altogether, in this case, either the duplicacy of the systems, we are trying to see a PAN should be saved separately and DIN should be separately being saved, so that the updation happens. We are working on this, so as of now, we are making sure to take these things one by one ourselves, because there's nothing that we can do at a commonly. And we are making sure that the masters are getting updated. As of now, if you are if I'm talking right now, so we have fixed almost 600 odd these issues, like one by one cases. We are still left with 300 odd LLPs where this problem is still there, where the duplicacy of data is there, and with that result, their master data is not getting updated. So we are doing it one by one, ma'am. This is in progress. I will make sure that all of these LLPins where the duplication of PIN and DIN was there, therefore them, the updation in the master data happens.
Okay. Next one is that in the form is not accepting giving the decimal figures while totaling the assets and liabilities. So with this, the balance sheet doesn't match.
Yes, ma'am. It is form 3.4, right? We are saying.
I have received with regard to form 8.
Okay, so in this case as well, so decimals that we are putting is also need to be, because it goes to, I think, 2 characters or 3 characters. Sakshi, you are there? Or?
I think she's not there.
So it goes to 2 to 3 level decimals, ma'am. So just see that the number that you are putting is exactly right. Summing up all the other after decimal the numbers. If there are still some issues, I would request the users to raise a ticket with us. We'll make sure. So this is not specific to this is not a generic kind of issue. This is specific to few users. We have seen this. It's also the decimal numbers that they are putting after decimal numbers that they are putting that is creating an issue. Well, because the sum has to happen accordingly. So please make sure whatever after decimal numbers you're putting, it should be correct and it should actually match the numbers that you are putting at the end, man, or the summation that happens at the end.
So what is the suggestion for them, for maybe for few users? One has to put only 2-3 numbers after decimal.
Yes, ma'am.
Not more than that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. While filing the form for satisfaction of charges, some points auto-missed by the system. After downloading, it shows some points automatically, even if it was not filled by us.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning. I think Mr. Devendraji also mentioned that there are some PDF related issues we saw. I'm still examining that. The numbers or the number that is coming over there is not the way, it's not complete. So I'm just looking into this, ma'am. I'll look into this and make sure that this is getting fixed.
Like in this, there are certain examples that the bank name which is not even mentioned is mentioned in the form. ARC, asset reconstruction, that is not created, but that is also created while submitting the form, downloading the form. So automatically it takes certain points which are not there put in by the user.
Yes, ma'am. And I would request that, as we have started last week as well, Form 8 related issues, we have started that in a specific form related calls. So we had covered last time 30 odd, and we'll keep on doing till the end of the month as well, to have one-to-one discussion to these users so that their issues are getting resolved in that call itself and this can be resolved. We are trying to do that. I would request ICSI as ma'am to have those sessions more and more to see all these Form 8 related issues, user specific issues are getting resolved in that call, and then users will get the appropriate resolutions to the issues that have been raised.
So we will definitely coordinate with you and have more and more sessions before 30th on Form 8.
Yes, ma'am.
After downloading the form, system is showing in the totaling field alpha numeric figure like 1 to 8.
Devendraji was mentioning that this is yeah.
So this is user specific.
No, ma'am. What I'm saying is this was one of two. Yes, this is user specific. Some of the issues has been raised like this. It is not common for all. For some few of the users, this has been highlighted to us. As I was mentioning, we will look into this.
We can take up in the sessions which we can plan now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Alternative day basis.
No, we'll I mean examining anyways one by one users. we'll check this and make sure that this is getting resolved one by one, ma'am.
Okay. So Form 8 is over. Form 3 and 4. For change of partners in LLP, both Forms 3 and 4 have been filed, but while downloading only Form 3 gets downloaded, it allows me to upload only Form 3 and takes to the payment.
Yes, ma'am. So for linked forms, just wait for a few seconds, to be frank, to get downloaded. Anyways, pop-up. In this case, Form 3, if he is getting downloaded, that means his pop-up has been enabled. Just wait for a few seconds, sir, ma'am, so that you just wait, because sometimes the attachments are heavy into that Form 4, which is taking a little bit of few seconds to get downloaded. Just wait for there. It will get downloaded for sure, ma'am. We don't have such issues at least now in this Form 4, and the numbers of LLPs, Form 3, 4 filing has really drastically gone up. We are getting almost 500 odd forms getting filed daily on this form, and we don't see many of the issues like these. Just wait for a few seconds and it will get downloaded.
While filling the linked e-form 3 and 4 for admission and retirement of partner, when we are clicking on proceed to Form 4, after filling all the information in the web-based form, buffering occurs, and after that service issue is showing.
Again, ma'am, this is specific, user specific. Let us get a little bit more details from this user and then we'll work on this.
DSC box is not available to affix the DSC.
I think I
Form
answered
3M.
this one.
Unable to file fresh form LLP 3 and form, the status is showing pending for approval.
Yes, ma'am. This issue is actually a validation in the systems that for this particular LLPIN, 3-4, any of the 3-4 should not be pending. If there are some pending form against this user or against this LLPIN, it will not allow you to file a fresh 3 or form. So that is the validation within the systems that we have, ma'am.
But it should not be there, no? If old forms are not approved. Approval is from the MCA side. One should not be barred to file the new form.
Yes, ma'am. As of now, the check is like that. If that has to be removed, we have to discuss with the MCA to take that off.
You can please take up the matter with the
Yes,
MCA. After filing of Form 3 and 4, the PDF of such form is unable to download. Issue
again,
in
you can
generating,
just do through the edit form and download if you are not able to download.
issue is there in generating the challan also. Now you are saying that you have fixed in at least company forms.
Challan, ma'am, is available in the application history if they are not enabled their pop-ups while doing the payment.
Okay, Form 3 and form related issues are over. Now moving on to Form 24. Not able to download Form 24 for resubmission after filing completely. Rather, new form is opening. And even after filing new form, portal is showing the errors. The e-form is lying under resubmission required status. Or the Form 24 is already pending against the LLPIN.
Yes, ma'am. If any of the Form 24 is pending for this user, it will not allow to file one more 24 against this LLPIN. That is the validation in the systems, ma'am.
But they want to resubmit the same form, which is required to be resubmitted. They are not able to resubmit the form.
Okay, I'll just check into this, ma'am. As such, there is nothing like this where a resubmission form is again giving a validation. If this more details can be given, we'll just validate this, ma'am.
Now moving on to form number 15 LLP. In form 15 LLP, at the time of downloading the form for affixation of DSC, it is showing the message you have successfully submitted the form. Your SRN is so and so, but form is still yet to be digitally signed.
This is not possible, ma'am. I have not seen such a case.
Okay, we will ask for more details and the
Yes,
SRN, and we will share it with you. Master data not updated after filing form 15 LLP and Philip.
As I mentioned, ma'am, for master data's related issues, maximum of them will be closed in next couple of days wherever there's a multiplication or duplication of data. We have made sure that is getting also updated through different process. This will get closed in next couple of days, ma'am. Master data issues.
With regard to Form 11, annual return, like in the annual return, there must be the details till 31st March. If the company LLP files Form 3 for any change in partner or director, this Form 11 fetches the information beyond 31st March also. It was not the case in V2.
It is not.
Philip, data disappears and form gets blank at the time of downloading. ये आपने बता दिया आपको शायद.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam, if you have any specific SRN with regard to Form 11, which captured the data subsequent to March 31st, kindly share with us. We will examine it. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay, sir. So these were the specific queries. Now, can we take some of the individual queries which we have received during the webinar?
Yes, ma'am. Just see that if it has been already resolved, so probably we can just move on.
How to file the different forms for various group entities? Does separate login ID required for all companies?
Ma'am, we have given this professional staff ID where they can, within the form, they can file the different forms within that form. So that was one option being given. Professionals in the new system, professionals can do all the filing. Professional user can do all the filings. That is how the systems have been built in the new system.
While trying to file Form CHG4, address is not getting pre-filled. As a result, system is not allowing to submit the form.
Yes, ma'am. For such users, the address in the system would not have been there. That is the reason this is not getting pre-filled. For this user, I would request to raise a ticket, ma'am. Sorry, I mean, I've been raising this and asking this you to the solution that I just need more details to offer so that we can resolve, because this is user to user basis. I know the resolution, ma'am, on the service. There are not many complaints, but yes, that resolution from the service desk is coming late. The reason is for such users to change the data, which is mandatory, or update the data in the systems. It takes time, ma'am. And we have also requested that if a CRF can be raised from respective ROCs, we'll examine and get it finished. Because we as a service providers cannot change any user's data until unless it is coming through a right channels and right. Simply writing on the ticket that my address can be changed with this will not help us, and that is the reason that we are struggling sometimes to or resolve the ticket quickly, because we are discussing. As of now, none of the tickets have been unanswered, man. We had made sure that we are taking it up these issues, but the problem is if there's a data change to be done or data updation to be done for that particular users, it is taking time, ma'am, because there has to go through a right process for that.
So in CHG4, Hanji sir.
Yeah, Rohit, two important points which I have also received on my WhatsApp. One is about 3 and 4. We file it together. 2 SRN gets generated. And when we try to re-edit the form 3, yeah, it says that form 4 is pending for approval. So,
yes, sir. Because for LLPIN, see what has happened. It is checking for, let's say, example in V3. I have some of the SRNs which actually I did not pursue, or they were there in submission or under submission. So whatever may be the condition in V2. So we have migrated the data as is with this. In the system, the validation is that if it's a link form, any of the form is pending for the user, it will not allow. So either we have to remove this check with the help of that, we need to take it with MCA and remove this check, or if we have to keep this check, then all the SRNs which were there against this LLPIN has to be first taken off or cancelled.
and one more point which has come, which is a very different kind of a thought process. Because, for example, I am a professional. If I fill up form 8 from my ID just for a dummy form I create, okay, and if actually somebody wants to create that particular form, it gets like barred for 15 days. I know for this we need to talk to MCA about cancellation of within 15 days. We have been discussing this particular point.
So, sir, there is a process and we are working towards this, the cancellation in some of the scenarios. I think Vijaya, you can better, explain it, what is how the cancellation button for users will be enabled. And we are trying to do a development on this where users themselves can cancel the forms and you won't have such kind of issues. And the development as of now is going on this. It will be very coming soon, and we'll dropping that into production very soon so that users can cancel the SRs in few scenarios by themselves. So over to Vijay, if you can just give a brief that in what cases we are doing it.
Yes, so sir, this cancel SRN service is already available in V2. Like for example, this form is in a draft mode, or you've just submitted the form but you have not uploaded the DSC or fixed PDF. So an option will be given on the portal to cancel such SRNs, so that you will not have that issue of like if one form is SRN is already generated, you will not be able to, there are some checks in some of the forms wherein you will not be allowed to file multiple forms for the same financial year or for the same company. Like that, we have some checks. So to avoid all these kind of issues, so we'll be introducing one one more option called cancel SRN service, wherein stakeholder themselves, they can cancel their SRN provided there is no payment has not happened or the form PDF is not uploaded with DSC. Only in those cases, they can go ahead and cancel the SRN.
So Devendra ji, just to give a brief again, we have all at most received 1,000 odd tickets to just cancel SRNs. And because this should be a self-service for the users. In V2 it was there. However, in V3 we are trying to do that, and there are some scenarios to be discussed. And if there is a payment against this SRN being done, It only goes through CRF process.
That's okay. That's
Yes, yes.
before payment. Actually,
Yeah, before
we
payment.
have been discussing this for quite a long time, I think.
Yeah. We are working towards it, sir. This has been taken. This feedback has been taken, and rest assured, sir, this will come very soon into the systems, and we'll make sure that this option is being given.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
With regard to Form 3 and 4, which were filed in V2, but it shows cancelled in V3.
Yes, ma'am, because this user may not have done anything for more than 15 days on this. So if technically they have accessed it, it won't get into cancellation. If you want to extend it, please raise a request. We will try to see that how we can do that, and we'll just extend it for a few days and they can file the form.
Ma'am, if the form was filed in V2 system and it was marked under R sub, then they have not responded within 30 days in case of LLP. So system would have marked it under cancel status. It's similar to NTBR in V2. Whenever you're not resubmitting the form within the period of 15 days or 30 days in case of company or LLP, form will get marked under not to be taken on record, right? So similarly in V2, it will be shown as cancelled.
Okay. I'm not able. Hanji,
Yeah,
sir.
one more day. I'm sorry, Rohit. I'm just taking some time off yours.
No, it's okay, sir. Absolutely fine. Let's devote more to it, just to make sure that users are getting more and more awareness. And happy to answer these questions, sir.
Yeah. So in Form 8 of LLP, whenever we are filing that, whenever there is a certification, if we select company secretary or chartered accountant to start with, and then we re-edit it, it automatically that particular button goes to cost accountant. This is problem one. In one of the case, what has happened, he has selected chartered accountant. In the web form, it is showing chartered accountant, but in the PDF, it is showing cost accountant. So this
Yes, sir.
is
PDF related issues we have seen, sir. As I said, sir, allow me some 1 or 2 days. Almost, I'm working with my domain team as well to see that what was the initially being and what is the right way to get it done. So allow us 1 or 2 days. We'll get it done, sir. That's not an issue.
I'm
And
not.
as I requested, sir, with your support as well as Deepa ma'am, your support as well. I would request to put more and more sessions, actually resolution sessions rather than these webinars. We are arranging these resolution sessions, specific form ways on Form 8. And we are trying to take it 30 odd users at one given point of time and try to resolve those issues in that call itself. We'll arrange more and more on this so that these issues are getting resolved in that session itself. So again, those are not sessions to help or aware those users. Those are resolution calls we are planning with the users.
Yeah, surely we will plan such kind of sessions with you. Next one is, I'm not able to change my user type from registered user to business user in V3. It says that I am shown as already registered. The one who has not even upgraded, but it is shown that it is already registered.
We just discussed this, right? So I showed in the Excel as well. So for those users who don't know there are multiple IDs, just mention which ID they want to pick it up. We'll pick it up, move all the transaction in one ID, so he will be able to check, because we have to deactivate his other user IDs.
No, it says that you are already registered in V3.
That's what I'm saying, ma'am. If it is registered, that means he already has systems with us. That means what we need to do is, if there are two multiple IDs within his system that are there, what we will do is we'll just keep one, rest of them will be deactivated.
But he must be there. The multiple IDs must be in the V2, no?
Not
V3
in V3 only, no?
Okay.
No, so okay, so I think you are not satisfied with the answer, ma'am. So I could see you are not satisfied with this answer.
I'm just saying, or maybe I'm not able to understand. I'm saying the query is that the person is having multiple IDs V2. Okay, you responded to that, but the person is saying that when I'm trying for V3, it says that you are already registered. So this is because of multiple IDs only.
Yes, he has already registered in V3. See, it is not V2, V3. As of now, all the data in V2 has been migrated completely into V3. That is first thing, ma'am. So that means whatever data was there in V2 has been migrated into V3. This user is actually trying to create a fresh ID where it is mentioned your ID is already there in the system.
So one has to upgrade.
One has
Not
to upgrade from the
registered.
system rather than he has to use the new ID altogether.
Okay. He has to upgrade. Okay. Another one is related to DPT3 while mentioning the amount paid in DP3 for closing amount appearing wrong. It is already, I think, discussed. The reduction in amount, you are working on that, you said, right?
Yes, ma'am. It is about that minus what I was mentioning, right? So that's
Yes.
Deepa, just check with the technical team. I think our webinar, whether it is going on live, because I have received a couple of messages that it is freezed.
Okay.
Just check, Akash.
Is it time bound or?
No.
I will check.
Been a marathon question answer. Thanks, sir. Thanks, Rohit.
We'll keep on doing this, sir. I'm trying to do as much of sessions like this to make sure that users are getting their forms filed, sir.
Okay.
Precisely on Saturday, Sunday with you, Saturday being the last date of DR3 and Sunday with these rest of the things. I think while we have been working hard, we should also make sure that users are getting as much of awareness through this new system that we are giving to them and they're able to file the forms.
Okay. See, everybody wants that this should work smoothly. I know that in future, this is going to be a game changer for us also as professionals. So,
yeah, it's important that the reason why we went to scattered as well is that they should get a feel of the system before the major forms are getting into the system, and they should exactly know that how the forms will be filed in the new systems. So it's important, and it's very good that they have got almost 30 or 29 forms are there. They are getting a feeling of the forms will get filed, because now the majority or the major of the forms will come, once the next go live happens. So maximum of the forms which are mostly being filed, those also will come up, and then they should be aware. They should not struggle at that particular time.
right. Yeah, Deepa, is there any problem or it is running smoothly?
Sir, Ranjana ma'am is checking it. In another 2 minutes, I will get the confirmation.
So we can go ahead, I think, if it is working.
ठीक है, ओके अभी लाइव है सर, बीच बीच में फ्रीज हो रहा है थोड़ा शायद, बट इट इज लाइव. So we can, should we take more questions? Rohit ji, yeah, we want to inspect CHG1 which filed in V3 portal.
Inspect can be done through application history. They can check what our SRN has been, they have filed.
Someone else can also check.
No. Until unless they have a login for that particular ID where it has been filed.
Only the same person can check.
Ma'am, I think Rohit, I think ma'am is asking about VPD service. So ma'am, so we are working on that. It is currently under development. So very soon we'll be enabling this VPD service for both V3 filings also. Currently V3 filings are not visible under VPD rate for both company and LLP forms.
Okay.
But Vijay, I think whatever available in B2 record room, they can view it, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is working fine. Only V3 records.
Yeah, okay. For LLP 3 and 4, on the problem is that date of event should be greater than date.
That's the validation, ma'am, in the form.
Is it necessary to update DSC in both V2 and V3 login? That you have already answered. Where are the charge certificates getting issued? You have addressed, I think now onwards certificates will be available. While filling form CHG4 on V3 portal, the registered office details are not appearing pre-filled.
I think we answered this.
For DPT3 auditor certificate for amount not considered as deposits was not compulsory in V2, but it is compulsory in V3 filing. This
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have to
These are
take
new checks. Yes.
Maybe, ma'am, user is filing the form in combination with return of deposits, then it becomes mandatory, ma'am.
Okay, otherwise it is not mandatory
No,
if the
not
amount is
mandatory.
not considered as deposit.
Yeah.
How to cancel the SRN? ये अभी discuss किया है, I think.
Yes, ma'am, very
Process
soon.
is to raise a ticket as of now,
Okay.
or else
But वो
wait for
अभी in the
or wait for 50 days. It will get automatically cancelled.
questions कम हो गए आप हंस रहे हो हाँ अभी बोलते हैं. I think now these are repeated. Form 8 shows the details of charge even though there are no charges in LLP. Form 8 shows the details of for charge even though there are no charges in the LLP.
Ma'am, it is pre-filled information that is coming from the systems. So if there was a charge, it will be there. If user has a problem with the charge, please raise an issue with us. We'll make sure that, or through your Google Forms as well, or through the one-to-one discussions we are doing it. Please make sure that you are joining any of the sessions that we are planning, and we'll make sure to resolve this issue.
We are not able to convert from V2 to V3 as it is saying that V2 ID is logged.
For locking of the issue, as was mentioned, V2 ID is locked.
It says that V2 ID is logged.
This is some
You
unique.
should ask for the ticket.
Yes.
So these are specific questions which we have received during the webinar.
Yeah.
There are certain profile update related issues. I have to use someone else login to use the service of V3 portal. Inspection of V3 is not allowed. You are working on that. Yeah?
Yes.
Unable to file e-form DPT3 for decrease in borrowings. Unable to port to V3 login. DPT3 is not allowing addition deletion. You are working on this. DSC box is not active in CHG1. This also we have taken up. OTP related issue. You are saying that internet service provider. So I think that is it. All our duplicates, you have already answered the questions. Smile on your
smile
face.
on your face as well.
Okay, so we are thankful to LTI MCA team, and we can have such more sessions.
Before we close, just wanted to say thank you very much, ICSI and the team over here. I have been personally getting into all the calls with the users to make the issues are getting resolved. We are starting this format because the filing has now picked up on format, to be frank, and daily we see around 2,500 forms are getting filed on format. The number of filings has drastically been increased on all the forms. We have been working on the issues being raised, and we'll continue to do so. None of the incidents that you have raised with us or the tickets raised with us, we'll make sure that we'll resolve each one of them and reach each one of you. There are different channels being opened. If there are some delays, you can go through the Google Forms being raised through ICSI, ICAI, and these ICMI. And they are also opening up these channels to make sure that your issues are being created and those comes to us. There is a weekly review happens. We make sure that each of the issues, each of the resolutions that we are giving to each one of users are being taken care, and we make sure that each one of issues are being resolved within the systems. There are some enhancements going, as mentioned, cancel SRNs, and also there are other enhancements as well that we are trying to do from the validation perspective. we will let you know and make sure that once those get live. The issues that we have in hand are related to data. Data is taking time, and those related changes to data has to be very thoroughly done by us with proper approvals from MCA. And that's where the resolutions are getting a bit delayed, ma'am. And pre-fill not coming, submission not happening, validations issues, all these issues are related to data. When I say form functionality perspective, man, all the forms are getting filed on MCA systems. It's just a little bit of awareness has to be given to more and more users. It's only the form perspective functionality we say it is perfectly working fine. It's only due to data, few of the issues, few of the users are struggling, because in V2, what was being enabled and it was going through whatever validations in V2 has been now upgraded in V3, and that is the reason users are struggling. We'll make sure those all things are being done, and then we will do one by one with users and make sure that issues are getting resolved. Thank you very much again, and we'll keep on meeting on these calls and discussions again with the specific as well as webinars more and more in future.
Yeah,
Thank you, Rohit, for your nice presentation. And we once again thanks ICSI, particularly Deepa Khatri Madam and Devendra Deshpande ji for organizing this wonderful discussion program. Rather, we can say it as a webinar. This is a one-to-one interactive session, will be very helpful. And I want to convey that our Joint Secretary has given clear-cut instruction to our technical, that is ticket resolution team, to resolve all the tickets within a day or maximum within 48 hours. That too with logical conclusion. The ticket should not be resolved with some small reply or without any proper reply. So for which our LTA technical team service provider is taking serious measures, and they are attempting to resolve all the queries then and there sincerely. And we hope all the issues will be sorted out at the earliest. Once if the ticket help desk team will help in resolving all those issues. And being company secretary, I am a member in 4-5 WhatsApp group also. So whenever I receive any issues flagged in the WhatsApp group, I am forwarding it to my joint secretary and to the service provider. Rohit Bhatt is very sincere in replying each and every query. Of course, it may take some time for them because their volume of issues they are facing is too high. That is the reason. But each and every tickets or issues are brought to the notice of the service provider knowledge. So definitely there will be a solution. Kindly bear with us, dear professionals. Thank you once again. Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So just to update that we have around 6,500 viewers who are watching this. So we have taken up all the common questions we have received till now, and the fruitful discussion and the resolution. And certain issues LTA team will be taking up in some time to come. So I thank the President, sir, for giving valuable time for the entire webinar he is present. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shri Kumar sir. Thank you, Sanjay Jain sir. Thank you, LTI team, Mr. Rohit Bhatt. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vijaya. Thank you, Sakshi. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
This we are concluding the webinar. Thank you.